This is the second part of the tutorial, and today we will learn how to set up the background images. Let's not waste time and let's jump into the tutorial. When we open the interface of Blender, we find this intro window that has all the possible new file, 3D animation sculpting modes, and also the recent file you worked on. So you click outside of the window, you press A, but first let me activate the screencast keys so you can see here in the bottom right what I'm pressing. So I press A, I press X, and I delete everything. First we add images on the background to create our 3D model. So I have some images that I have found online with the chair that I want to animate, and a picture that we can use as reference. We simply drag the images into our 3D view. We just need the visualization of what we want to animate. We press G to grab it, and to move in the center of the scene we can actually go into item and we can select, as you can see I am dragging and drop down this location window, and I press 0, so I move all the axis, or basically I move the pivot point on all the axes to 0, so is in the center of our scene. You can also do that pressing Alt and what you want to move to 0, in this case rotation, so Alt R to set the rotation to 0. The first thing that we need to do is rotating our image, so I press R and then the axis around which I want to move my image, in this case Z and 90 degrees. You need to type 90 on your keyboard. Then we do the same, so R, Y, 90 degree. So in this case we have our background image set on the axis that we want to work on. Now if you press 1, 3 or 7 you can change the view. So you go into orthographic view and you see from the front, from the right side with 3, and from the top with 7. Of course what you're gonna see is just with 3 from the right side. We are gonna work on this one. Actually maybe it's better if we do RZ 90 or RZ minus 90. In this case we can see the chair from the front view. We can in this inspector window we can rename our background image. In this case we can call ortho, and this can be called references. This is basically a collection, and a collection is like a folder that contains multiple files, or in this case meshes. You can deactivate the collection pressing this square. The other thing that we need to do is set up the right size. We are going first to set the measurement and then to set up this in the right size. To set the measurements we need to go into the we need to go into the scene properties, and under units we select metric. You can work in metric or in imperial depending on what you're at ease with. In this case we work with metric, and we work in centimeters in this case, because this is centimeters. Actually, maybe yeah, 83 centimeters should be fine. So we need to set up the size. To set up the size, we can create a new collection, and we can call this model, because it is the collection where we are going to save our elements. To create a new collection, press right in this window, and on the outliner context menu, press new collection. You can use shapes to resize other shapes. In this case, seeing that we don't really have a definite size for this, because we have like a small gap in here and under the bottom of the chair, what we are gonna do is adding a cube. So you press Shift A to open the add menu, and on the top of the add menu we press cube. This cube is 2 meters per 2 meters per 2 meters size. We need to make sure that the size of the cube match the size of the chair. So in this case, we hide the cube for 1 second, pressing H, and we know that we simply take one of the sides, 83. We know that the size of the chair is gonna be 83 in depth. In this case, we simply go on the right in the outliner, and we press this small I to show the cube again. Here on the top you can see various mode, and this one is the one that we are going to use, the toggle X-ray. So we need to see through the cube. We need to make sure that this background image matches the size of the cube, at least from this point to this point. So we go in ortho, and we press numpad 1, then we select, of course, the background image. We press G, and we place the image more or less in the center of the cube. Now we need to resize the image to match more or less the size of the cube. So we press S to scale, and we start scaling the image. So we make sure that the side of the representation of our chair matches the size of the cube. I keep pressing a combination of scale and grab, so S and G, to scaling it and moving in place. So now I think that we are fairly okay. After that, we can simply select the cube. So I right clicked on the cube, and you can see that it's has an orange line around it, and it means that it's selected, and we press X to delete our cube. Now we go back in ortho, we select again the background image, and it's really sensitive. So if you with the middle mouse button rotate around the 3D space, you lose that view. So you press 1 again. So we go back into front view, and we move the chair. We press G to grab the background image, and Z to lock the axis where we want to move it, and we simply move it up. I cannot really set it properly on the ground, because the red line that represents the ground is hidden by our image. We can easily sort it out. We simply go to the object data properties, and under transparency we lower the transparency a little bit. In this case, yeah, I was on the floor. This is gonna be the front of our chair, so I'm gonna put the front of the chair where there's this blue line representing the z-axis. So G, X to lock on the x-axis, and yeah, more or less like this. Then the other thing that I'm gonna do, I select the background image, I press Shift D to duplicate it, and I create a copy, but I want the copy to be in the same position, so I press X, and as you can see I have two images in here that are ortho and ortho 01. We can call this ortho front and ortho side. So we select the ortho side. Whatever you select in here is going to be selected in the 3D space as well. We press R to rotate and Z to rotate on the Z axis, and we press 90. Then we press 3, and as you can see, this one is the one that's going to be visible, the ortho side. The front view is going to be visible in this way. So what we need is making sure that this is rotated in the right angle. So having this selected, we press again R, Z, 180. So now it is in the right side. If we press 3, we are in the right one. Again, we position this more or less in the center, G, Y, because the green line represents the Y axis, and we move more or less in the center. The other thing that we can do, seeing that these two images are gonna be used just in the orthogonal view, we can simply G, Y, move this far, and move this G, X far from the center, because the chair is gonna be modeled in the center. Now we are set up and we can start modeling our chair. This is the final part of the second tutorial. I wait in the third part where we will learn how to model the 3D chair. Ciao!